Will page builders take over the world and put everyone out of their business? That's what I'm going to be discussing today. Maybe not quite so dramatically. Hi, everyone. Welcome to WP Quickies series, bite-sized WordPress tips and tricks in 30 minutes or less. Hi, I'm Will Brown, WordPress consultant and educator. I help WordPress developers and designers get more clients and grow their WordPress business. Before we start, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. We have a Facebook group, so that is WordPress Sydney Meetup. If you are watching this from the Facebook group, if you can visit streamer.com/Facebook, and that'll just link your avatar up with Facebook, so that if you post in the comments, I'll be able to see who is coming through. We also have WPAustralia.org website, and that's going to show you all the different WordPress meetups that are happening across Australia just now. We're really getting back into it. We're talking to the organizers. We're trying to boot up the in-person meetups. So you should see a little bit more activity happening in the next couple of months. For those, there's also a link to our Slack group, which is our real-time chat system. So you can talk to us in real time there. And if you are a designer or developer who creates and maintains websites for people, I have the Ultimate Website Owner Survival Guide, which is going to help you to get some recurring business happening in your business. So you can visit wasg.com.au if that is you. The next in-person monthly evening WordPress meetup, I need to get a better phrase for that, it's a bit of a tongue twister, it's on the last Monday of every month, 6 p.m. at the Microsoft Reactor right next to Winder Station. I am going to be talking about building quizzes in WordPress. Now, this is a topic that kind of got a little bit more activity over the last couple of years. It's quite big in marketing just now. So if you want to find out why, you can come and meet me in person. On the 26th of September, 6 p.m. Microsoft Reactor. There might even be some pizza to nibble on. And I am always looking for topics to discuss. So if you can fill out the Google form, I'll paste the link. There it is. Or QR the code afterwards. Fill out, give me some topics that I can talk to probably between 20 minutes or so. That'd be great. I can queue them up for the rest of the year. Someone is asking about the Facebook link. It is facebook.com/WordPress Sydney Meetup. And there we go. So there you go. Right. Let's get into the talk today. Oh, first, who have we? We've got any people here? Yes, Felicia. Hi, Felicia. Yep, I've got the Facebook link. So it's WordPress Sydney Meetup. You can search for that on Facebook and it'll come up for there. Happy to carry on the conversation, ask questions. I post some news and stuff there as well. So keep an eye on that Facebook group for stuff. Okay, let's get into this one. Boom, there we go. So whenever a new or popular tool comes out, everyone asks this type of question. And I see it floating around some of the online forums and groups that I help out on right now. So let's discuss what this question, the points this question raised. So will page builders replace web developers or web designers or web professionals? That's what we're looking at today. Hey, Joe, good to have you here. Okay, so when WordPress started to shoot ahead as the most popular CMS, people were asking the question. So this is going back maybe about 7 years ago, when WordPress really started to make that big push away from Joomla and Drupal and the rest. People were asking, will WordPress kill web development? Will it replace web development? So fast forward 10 years or so, and that really hasn't happened. What we have seen is that WordPress has evolved, so has the development community and the opportunities that WordPress provides. And I've just listed some of those things just on the side there. You know, we've seen plugins, we've got themes, we've seen the whole explosion of blocks, which has led to block patterns and block themes and then full site editing. We've got multi-site, we've got WooCommerce variants within WordPress. And then from a development point of view, we've got the REST API, which allows us to connect WordPress with other systems. So now WordPress is not replacing stuff, WordPress is linking and driving stuff. We've got Heartbeat, which is the internal WordPress process, which leads to post locking and other stuff like that. Then we've got frameworks that's come out, like React. We're now using Node and NPM for development. We're using JavaScript. We've got things like Docker, which allows us to boot up virtual WordPress websites on our own local PC, like local WP, for example. So when 10 years ago, when people are asking, oh, this WordPress tool, is it going to replace web development because everyone can now build a website by themselves? It hasn't. It hasn't. What we have seen is the community, the tool, the ecosystem evolve, and not replace, just evolve. So that's a bit of background from a WordPress point of view. I've got Felicia. Hi, Felicia. And hi, Michael. Thanks for joining in. So here are the top 6 page builders that are in use with WordPress just now. We've got Elementor, Beaver Builder, and Oxygen. We've got Divi, Visual Composer, and Themify Builder. Now, some are recent additions. Others have been around for maybe 5+ years. So page builders aren't necessarily a new thing. But certainly tools like Elementor, Beaver Builder, and Oxygen, you can do a lot of stuff with those things. So people are again starting to ask, are these page builders going to replace my job as a web designer or web developer? And it's a valid question to ask. So let's explore some of the points around it. And feel free to join in. Post your comments, and I can link in with those. You were asking, what is my preference for page builder? Is that what you're asking? Let's see. These are the right. My preference is Elementor. I am an Elementor community ambassador. I think that's right. So I use Elementor a lot. I used to use Beaver Builder, but I switched over to Elementor. I think it's a more stable product. I think it's a more feature-rich product. I know people who use Oxygen. Oxygen has a high learning curve, but it's pretty good for developers. Divi is very popular. It was one of the first page builders. It's pretty old now, but it's got a lot of user following. Visual Composer and Themify Builder, they're kind of on the older side and kind of looking a bit clunky nowadays. So if that's answered your question, yeah, so I use Elementor for most of my builds, but I kind of use Generate Press and Generate Blocks as well as another stack. So that's just a quick segue into page builders. But let's get back to on topic. Are these things going to replace web developers and web designers? So let's have a look at some arguments against hiring web professionals. So when you approach a company, here are some of the things that might be in their head when they're thinking maybe about hiring a designer, a professional designer or developer for those. So these are a common quick list of arguments that have been used certainly in the past when I've been chatting to a client prospectus. So the first one is cost. So the number one argument I hear for not hiring a professional web designer or developer is, of course, the cost element. Now, it's not as simple as just the prices being too high either. There's a lot of different aspects to what we call cost. So when a website owner reaches out for multiple quotes, the range of costs that they receive back will not make sense to them. Now, some quotes will be in the thousands, some quotes will be in the hundreds, or even below that for simulate the same service. And this is an issue for like all service-based issues. It's not just web development, but it certainly happens in the web development world. So you've got your big agencies out there, which are going to be charging you thousands. Then you've got your solo freelance people who are maybe just starting out and they're looking to get on the ladder. And they're basically doing things for free. A couple of $100, and I'll develop you a WooCommerce website. Now this is really confusing for the end client. They're looking at all these quotes. They're coming in. There's like a few $100. There's $10,000. There's stuff in between for the same thing. So it really gets the whole business really, really confusing. So cost is definitely an issue. Is an argument against going to hire web professionals. And we'll revisit cost in the terms of time saving a little bit later on in one of the slides. The next one is process heavy. Now, questions, forms, surveys, road mapping, discovery sessions, wireframing, branding, guidelines, change requests, scope management. All these things are important processes in a successful web development project, but sometimes the website owner can see these as being a hurdle to just getting started. If you've got to fill out heaps of forms, you've got to sit down with 10 meetings before you even get to see, something on the screen. That can be a real put off for hiring web professionals. The next one is timescales. So the price might be right, but perhaps the right web professionals can't start that project maybe for another month due to other commitments. So matching the website owner's timescale for delivery can also be a big issue against hiring web developers. and web professionals. The next one is going rogue. We know what happens, probably more often than not, when a web designer or developer just disappears, poof, midway through the project. The fear is real, and it's a big concern to website owners. Hidden costs as well. So it's disappointing when you've paid a lot of money for what you think is a full product or service, only to find out that you've got to pay even more to get the job done. So, for example, while SEO is not a hidden cost, it's not hidden to us, many website owners would probably have an expectation that a new website would appear in the search results for their target audience. It's not an unreasonable expectation. Web professionals know that how much time and effort it costs to do things like SEO, but perhaps the website owner doesn't. To them, there's domain registrations, there's web hostings, there's premium plugin subscriptions. They all add up, and they can really look like a hidden cost to a website owner if not properly explained in the outline at the project conception phase. The last one is trust eroded. So eroded trust. If the website owner is looking for a website redesign, they may have previously been burned one or two times, maybe from some of the arguments, the points above, to the whole point of being trust is completely eroded and they're unwilling to hire again. So I wanted to put these in place. These are kind of stopping points, arguments against website owners hiring the web professionals and considering doing it themselves, doing a DIY approach. Okay, so let's look at the other side. Why do website owners use page builders? Now, there's many reasons why a website owner would like to use a page builder. Some of them are included. Get rid of myself. Some of them include these, like quick results, code-free, feature-rich, cost-effective, self-achievement, ease of use. Now, you can argue points for and against each of these reasons. For example, quick results. Is that after you're trained? Quick results, is that, if you're a website owner, you've got this new page builder, you have no idea how that works. So is that quick results after you have been trained and now you're fully competent to be at the point where you can build a whole website? They're code free, but is that output the most efficient for Google, for SEO, with your actual content buried, layers deep in HTML, scaffolding, for example? Things like feature-rich. Do you remember Microsoft Word Art? Do you remember when Word Art came out and all the many presentations that made your eyes bleed? So just because something's there, it's not necessarily mean it's a good idea to use it. So all these page builders, they have a huge amount of features inside them. Cost-effective. Now, you save time paying a developer, but how many hours as a business owner did you spend or could you have spent running your business instead for those? Self-achievement, are you a website builder or a business owner? And ease of use, well, perhaps, but after how many hours? But these are valid points. Why do website owners use these types of page builds? Because this is what they see. They see these templates, they see other people using them to get quick results. Whereas, if they approach a professional, it may be 2 months down the line. Code free, that's a very, very appealing to website owners. They probably don't know how to code in HTML or CSS or PHP. So now there's this tool that they can play around with and just, bang up a website without having to know any of these codes. And of course, we've talked about feature rich. All of these page builders, Elementor, Beaver Builder, Divi, they all come with heaps of stuff, heaps and heaps of features and elements and widgets and stuff, which is great. And that's really appealing to a business owner because, you don't have to pay extra. You kind of get everything in the one place as well. And self-achievement is a relatively big one. So some people like to have that sense of, I've done all this myself. It's my business. I've created it all myself. So it is a point, an argument for a business owner choosing a page builder over a web professional for those. Okay, so full website kits. Let's talk about this. Now, there's the evolution of some of these page builders to become full website template kits. We've seen it in Elementor. We've seen it to some extent in Beaver. Not sure about Divi if it comes with Elementor kit, but certainly there's been a big push for these. Now, when we're talking about these site kits, we're talking about a full a full brochureware website. So it's going to do a header, a footer, it's going to do your home page, a services page, an about page, a contact page with a form, maybe got testimonials where it's got a couple of sliders in there for those. So it's like the full thing. So you've got these templates, you've also got wireframes as well. For those, it just gives you an outline. Now, a single click of a button and boom, there's an entire professionally created website for you. Colors, copy, images, navigation, contact form, the lots for those. Now, this is a very, very attractive feature. I know a lot of website owners use this process to spin up a quick website. While creating a whole website from one of these template kits is as easy as clicking a button, customization, changing it once it's done, is not as easy as the advertisements on those websites maybe allude to or imply, especially for a non-web designer or developer. If you're a business owner, you've not got the knowledge to how to change all this, it can be a bit daunting. So you've got this lovely kit there, you've got these lovely pages, but it's not your website. Your name's on the top, but all the images are wrong and everything. It's not your website. You now have to then change everything and rebrand it into your website. So let's look at some of the issues that a business owner might face with this. And the reason I'm going through all these things is that, these are arguments that could come up when you guys, she stopped saying guys, when you lovely friends are you bidding for prospects for clients. These things could come up. So you then have some ammunition to fight back. Felicia is saying that Divi does offer these kits. That's excellent. Thanks for letting me know. So some limitations with these site kits that I want to highlight is limited designs. So let's take Elementor, for example, and I'm not choosing Elementor just because it's me or, because I want to have a dig at it. It's just one example. So Elementor, for example, this is the page, the site kit page on Elementor. So it says it has 100 designs. And now 100 designs may sound like a lot to a business user, but it's not really. Once you dig into it, the templates cover a wide range of industry and niches. And you may only get one or two choices for your particular industry or niche. So you've got this 100 plus, but in reality, you've maybe only got one or two, maybe three to choose from. And they may not be appropriate, or they could already be in wide use, and you've got a copy of someone else's business website. The next one is global colors. So web designers and developers, we would instinctively know to first go and change things like global site-wide template colors, and then adjust the HTML elements, the colors, on an individual basis if we are needed. But that's not the way a website owner thinks. I've had website owners call me up distraught because they spent hours going through all the buttons and all the links on every page, changing the colors individually. They don't understand this kind of global settings. And to a similar extent is fonts. So fonts drive end users, business users, up the wall and back over the other side. It's very similar to the global colors. So global fonts can really, really scare business users, website owners. Why is this button a different font from that one? Why is this title a different font from this one here? For those. And then, of course, there's the whole GDPR issue. So if you're targeting EU citizens, we've got these fonts now in CDNs breaking GDPR rules. So the page builders have had to rush to try and host those locally. So there's lots of issues. Colors and fonts can make a huge issue for those. And then you've got these pages, and then you've got all these images. Now, these images that are applied by these full site kits, while they look lovely, they are stock images and they all need to be replaced. And the problem is that not all these images are going to be the same size. And business owners, they're not great at resizing images to fit a space. They're not great at resizing images to start with, but certainly not very good at cropping images down into a particular area on a page. That usually gets lost. So all these templates, they've been chosen as well. These images have been chosen, these templates, to kind of blend in the overall colors and brands, because these have been professionally designed. And all that usually gets lost when the business owners start to upload their own images and try and apply those changes to make it look like their own website. Plus, there are a lot of image icons to replace as well across the whole site templates. It's very, very time consuming. Then we've got page layouts. Now, website owners can struggle to replicate or change the page layout because they don't really understand the HTML or the CSS or the web positioning styles behind it. And now this can be a huge frustration factor when they can see a layout on a page but not be able to replicate it or modify it. Why can't I do this? Why can't I move it over there? Why doesn't it work? And suddenly adding new pages is very similar. So website owners can struggle to create or recreate a new page to match those that have already been spun up by these template kits. This can affect branding, it can affect professionalism, it can affect user experience, all that sort of stuff. So a few warnings on the full website kits, having some issues in your toolkit to fire back at clients if they ask you, well, why can't I just use a page builder, and use a full site kit and spin up a website for myself? Those are some issues with those. Okay, I've got those. I should have waited for those. Okay, there we go. Next one. Right. Page builders. So here are some of the biggest cons, negative issues, I think, around a website owner doing a DIY page builder website themselves. So other than what we've already discussed, what are some of the primary cons and concerns of using page builders versus hiring professional website developers or designers? The first one has to be site speed. So most page builders, they are big, heavyweight plugins. They have lots of features to be sure, but that also means that lots of assets and code libraries to load in. Now, using a page builder will, in general, slow down your entire website. Yes, you can optimize page builders and you can optimize single pages, but in general, there's always going to be assets the page builder is going to load just in case you want to use a particular feature. The next one is HTML structure. Now, the code quality or HTML structure generated by a page builder will never match the quality from a professional website developer or designer. Now, to support all the possible features that a page builder offers, all the layouts and stuff that it offers, it's going to require certain structures and scaffolding to be put in place, which may not really be needed, if you're just looking at single page designs. And now, the client might not care about this, but they will do when you start mentioning SEO. So this can increase page load time, and that's going to interfere with your SEO results. And also with all the scaffolding in place, it might be a little bit more difficult for Google, for the search engines to extract what the actual content is on that page. So site speed is definitely one, but HTML structure and SEO, that can be a negative quality for the page builders. We've got learning curve as well. So there's always going to be a learning curve if you choose a new tool, like a page builder. However, modern page builders are really complex beasts now with many, many moving parts, features, options, and settings. Due to their complexity, page builders come with their own set of bugs, their own set of issues and constraints, which may stump new website owners. And then you've got feature overload, and this is one of my favorite ones. I always have a pencil and a pad of scrap paper on my desk so I can get ideas quickly out of my head. What I don't want to do is spend time figuring out which application I want to use, which color or font face I want to write down ideas for. And page builders, they come with hundreds of features, hundreds, and options as well, all over the place. And that can be really overwhelming for new website owners. And of course, there's an urge to use all this stuff as well because, one, it's there, and second, you've paid for it, right? And so definitely feature overload can be a real negative effect with using page builders. Migration is a big one as well. So page builder developers, they don't make it easy to migrate the content to another platform. Now, there are, of course, business and technical reasons for this, but the fact remains that if you decide to migrate your site away from your chosen page builder, you're going to have a pretty hard time extracting that content and replicating it at the same design elsewhere for those. So that can be a big, big negative. The last one I want to talk about is end quality as well. So page builders make it very easy for Joe Blogs, website owner, to create an entire DIY website. However, there are skills involved in web design and development that page builders cannot help with. So we're talking about things like branding, design, marketing, security, those types of things. The overall, and this is in my opinion, the overall end quality of a DIY page builder website will never match that from a professional website designer or developer. So those are arguments against, cons, issues, concerns, you might want to say, about using a page builder from a DIY website owner's point of view. Okay, so let's have a look at the other flip of the coin. What are some pros of hiring a web designer or a developer, a professional, over using a page builder or building a DIY website, basically? The first one is online strategy. Now, a professional web designer or developer, they usually have their eyes on the overall strategy or big picture. How will your business website fit in with your marketing? How will it fit in with your content strategy and your other social media marketing? Now, a website should not be a separate entity. It shouldn't be a standalone thing in your business. It should be an integrated part of your overall business strategy. So online strategy is definitely something you're going to get, if you hire a professional web designer or developer. Some other pros is better UI and UX. So the training experience a web professional brings to the table should translate to better user experience, a better user interface for your website users. And that can lead to increased time that they spend on the website, more interaction, and increase in leads and conversions. The next one is problem solving. So building a website is usually not a straightforward process for a beginner. Having a web professional at hand to solve any technical issues that arise is worth their weight in gold. Connecting with lead forms, with customer relationship managers, setting up payment gateways, dealing with order problems, extracting critical business data from website, all require a significant amount of technical knowledge that any professional web designer or developer should already have. Next one is attention to detail. So the end quality of a delivered website project from a professional should far exceed any DIY job, and your customers will thank you for that. Having a harmonious design and a user experience all helps towards the quality of visitors, leads, and prospects that are going through that funnel on your website. The second last one is unique to brand. So many new websites owners, they will use a page builder templates or site kits, as we've already discussed, to quickly spin up a website. However, the designs are limited and will generally look very similar to other websites in your niche or industry because they're basically doing the same thing. A professional website developer or designer is going to deliver you a website that matches your unique brand. So it's not just going to be a copy of competitors, but something uniquely yours, something unique to that business owner. And the last one is time savings. Now, we've talked a little bit about costs in a previous slide. But this is probably the most important pro for hiring a professional designer or developer for your website, and that is project time saving. So if you're a business owner, you are a business owner, not a web designer or developer. The time you spend running a business is worth a lot more than trying to spin up a website. So if you multiply your hourly rate with the average time to create a basic brochure site, which is around about 6 to 8 weeks or about 300 plus hours, part-time, how much would you be paying yourself if you're doing it for that same period? Well, even at a minimum wage in Australia, that equates to around about $6,500 of your time you're paying yourself to build a website. And of course, you're not working for a minimum wage. So those are some pros that you can certainly put in your toolkit if you're prospecting to clients on how to hire, why they should be hiring a professional web designer or web developer. So online strategy, looking at the big picture, the better UI UX flow for the visitors. We've got problem solving, technical issues that we know are going to happen. They always do. Attention to details, unique to brand, and of course, the time saving that the business owner is going to get by hiring a professional to do the stuff for them. Okay, so that leads us quite nicely and quite well timed to the main question of the talk today. Will page builders replace web designers and developers? And in my opinion, no, or at least not yet. There's always going to be prospects for people who are looking for a done-for-you service from a professional, looking to engage in high-quality product and willing to hire a professional web developer or designer. So I'd love to know your thoughts. If you have any, you can drop them down in the comments just now or leave them on the Facebook page as well if you want to discuss this a little bit further. But I'd love to know what your thoughts are regarding page builders versus professional web developers. Either you're a business owner or you are already a web professional. What are your thoughts on those? Please drop them into the Facebook group and we'll continue on the conversation from those. Happy to connect with you. I'd love to connect with you all. Here's my details. I'm mostly on LinkedIn these days under Will Brown AU, but I'm on Instagram and Twitter as well. But mainly, if you can visit my willbrown.com website, that's the new website I'm spinning up. Lots more content coming that way very, very soon. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for joining me. I hope that's been an interesting discussion. Some points that you can maybe take away, some points you can think about. Please do let me know in the Facebook group what your thoughts are about page builders versus pro web designers and developers. Next week, you can catch me on next week on WP Quickies. I'm going to be talking about who owns WordPress. So we're talking about all the different companies there, who really owns WordPress, who's running the show for those. It's a little bit been a little bit in the news over the last month or so, with some people saying some certain things. So let's have a look at who really owns WordPress next week. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care and see you next week. Bye.